Okay, are we all set, Roxanne? Okay. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the February meeting of Mountain Community College Board of Education. I declare a quorum for tonight's regular session with the following directors present. Diane McKeel, I'm here. Annette Matson. Annette, are you online there? No, not yet. Okay. Diane Noriega? Here. Marie Tooney? Here. Annette here. Oh, Annette Matson. Oh, there she is. Okay. Andrew Spear. Here. Shatoya Bentley. Here. And Dana is not attending. Yeah, she's excused. Okay, thank you.
I'm here now.
Okay. Annette, is that you?
Yeah, I'm here now.
Thank you.
I couldn't find the link.
Thank you. Okay, item 4.1, approval of agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Item 5.0, public input. For persons wishing to provide public comments who are attending in person, please sign up by completing the sign-in sheet with your name, the name of the organization or group represented, if any, and a statement noting the agenda item or topic to be addressed to the board. The sign-in sheets are located on the table at the meeting. For persons wishing to provide public comments via Zoom, we ask that you sign up by using the hand raise feature in Zoom. It is available at the bottom of your Zoom screen. When you are called to provide comments, please clearly state your full name, the name of the organization or group represented, if any, and the agenda item or topic you wish to address to the board for the record. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes per person. And as a reminder, the board will hear comments or objective criticisms of college operations and programs, but comments about individual college personnel should be directed to the board chair or president outside of this meeting. So we will now hear public comments. Roxanne, do we have sign-up sheets?
Yes, we have 6 in person, and I do not see any hands raised.
Okay, so when Roxanne calls your name, please step up to the table. Yeah.
The first person is Mike Gorchala.
Okay, hi Mike.
Hi.
Go ahead when you're ready, please.
So this is my first time doing this. I am a student here. We got an email on January 15th saying that the work study funds were going to be changed. Originally it was $2,400. The email stated with some enthusiasm that it was going to be dropped down to $1,500, but there were no solutions really in that email to move forward with, other than speak to your supervisor. When I went to my supervisor and spoke to them about it, they didn't know yet that that happened. And I've spent every day since then trying my hardest to figure out what I could do for my own personal situation and what I could do for all the people who would be too terrified to speak up, or who didn't think that they could raise their voice or speak back against, for fear of repercussions or whatever, or just because we're students and it was midterms. I feel that I hope it's going to be handled better in the future. I feel that it was handled poorly this time around. I still have no idea what happened in spite of all of the inquisition I've gone through, all the people I spoke to. I don't know if anyone does have a straight answer about it. study students were already in a hard situation. Most of the ones that I have spoken to personally, they're using that money to pay rent, they're using that money to pay their bills, they're taking care of family members. We came to college to try and better ourselves so that we don't have to rely so heavily on programs like food stamps and the STEP program, which hopefully is going to help me survive to the end of my term. But I got in the physical therapy program, so I'm locked in regardless of what happens to my money on the back end. And it's a health professions program. I don't have time to drop everything and go find a job to make sure that my bills get paid. I don't have a support network to rely on outside of myself, my wife, and this school. And that was terrifying, and it's still grossly uncomfortable for me. But like I said, I've been thinking about it every day. I've talked to at least 5 or 6 people behind me about it individually. I would hope. A lot of people want to know, they want someone to hang out and drive for it, and I don't care who screwed up. I don't care what went wrong. I want it to be handled better. I want it to be addressed. I want a spotlight on it so that this doesn't happen again, so that the students who are trying the hardest to make ends meet and need the most help aren't the ones getting hammered over and over again.
Okay, thank you.
Next is Holly Wheeler. And if we want to bring another up, T. Valkyrie.
Okay, go ahead when you're ready.
My name is Holly Wheeler, and I'm a librarian here at MHCC, working in the library as the cataloging and metadata specialist. I'm also a Toronto resident. I have appeared before you twice in the last several months to read statements on behalf of my colleagues. But tonight I wanted to share my own story. Just days before I was born, my mom floated in Lake Trillium under the shadow of Mount Hood to try to beat the late July heat. When I was 3 or 4 years old, my family trekked out to the MHCC campus from the west side suburbs for that year's Highland Games. In my mid-20s, when I finally made my way back to the Pacific Northwest, but I hadn't yet settled into a job or a place that I loved, I met a librarian who works at Mount Hood Community College. That chance conversation during a conference at the Timberline Lodge set off a small voice in the back of my head that would whisper to me every time I drove past the Gresham and Troutdale exits on I-84. Worked at MHCC, this would be home. The first 2.5 decades of my life were restless. My family moved halfway across the country, moved house several times. For college, I moved out of state, and I lived at a different address each of those 4 years. For graduate school, I moved to yet another state. At one point in my 20s, I lived in 5 different states in 5 years. I never felt quite settled, so I was itching for the next place, and I didn't feel at home. In November 2017, a job listing popped up for the library cataloger at Mount Hood Community College. At the time, I was also a finalist for a faculty librarian position at the university I was working at in Central Washington. But I knew in my bones the job at Mount Hood was the one that I really wanted. It was less money, it was less prestige, but it was the one that called to me. So when I got the call in February of 2018 offering me the job, I was so excited and flustered that I could barely remember a reply. In the 7 years since moving to Troutdale and working at the MHCC library, I felt settled and at home for the first time in my life. This is the place that I want to be, the place that I want to stay. And I tell you all of this to make my dedication to this job, this campus, and this community clear. In many ways, I felt called to be here. I made a choice to be here at a point in my life, and there were many open doors and many paths that I could follow. And that choice was like the right one ever since. The CEA has been working without a contract for 234 days. And in those past 234 days, I found myself questioning that choice. Not because I don't love my work or love serving our students, but because of how demoralizing the dragged out bargaining process has been. It's difficult to want to keep showing up and giving 100% to an institution that shows time and again how little it values classified staff and how short-sighted it is in making decisions that will have long-lasting ramifications. At 7 years of service, I'm still one of the newest people working full-time in the library. Only 2 others have been there for less time than me. This is a story all over campus, classified staff. People want to be here. They want to share their deep institutional knowledge to serve our students. But the administration is making it harder and harder for that to be possible for us. As much as we love our work and we love this community, we have bills to pay, we have mouths to feed, and we need to be treated with a basic amount of respect. Many of us are the very people that you will be asking to fund the bond measure, while simultaneously telling us that we don't deserve to make a living wage. We agree with you that a bond is vital. We also literally cannot afford this taxation. I'm urging the board, tell the administration's bargaining team that enough is enough. Time to settle a deal. Classified staff deserve fair pay, equitable treatment, and for their service to this college to be valued. Thank you.
Salisbury. I met you all before, International Student Program Coordinator and CEA member. I've been working without a contract for almost 8 months, which also means I have not received the cost of living increase this year. I'm hoping this is the last time that we have to meet this way, and that tomorrow at the mediation session, we can come to a fair and equitable agreement in our contract. If not, the next time I come to speak with you, I will explain what I do on a day-to-day basis and what that will mean to the college if we have to go on strike. Do we want to? No, but we will have to. Working without a contract during the busiest time in my career at Mount Hood has been difficult. Not receiving a COLA this year has put a personal financial strain on my family, but not feeling valued and appreciated by the college administration while I work so hard for a group of students that will bring in $1 million in revenue that I shared last time, this year is really demoralizing. So what I wanted to address today is the financial proposals the college administration has given us. Although we have received a better unofficial COLA offer of 6% the first year, we still have not received an offer that includes a retroactive COLA. That means all the hard work classified staff have done since July 1st while working without a contract is not being valued, respected, or recognized. Instead, this offer is demeaning and degrading. It is also not in line with what has been offered to other employee groups and their contract negotiations. They have also not budged on giving the CCR&R employees a better offer. These employees, you probably know, but they were forced to merge with our union this summer. And then they were demeaned by being treated as new employees at the college and all of their benefits and accruals. So as you can imagine that, like, you've been in the college 10 years and you're suddenly put back as a first-year employee. This is totally unfair to them, and they had no choice in the matter to join our union. It also should be noted that the college has not offered any additional salary steps, and again, the work of the long-term Mount Hood employees with years or decades of experience and knowledge is being devalued and ignored. So, in conclusion, I would like to ask you all on this board, and you, Dr. Skari, to please demand that the college administration come to the table tomorrow with an equitable financial offer that includes the retroactive COLA, a fair offer for these CCR&R employees who have been undervalued in all of this, meeting in the middle on some of the other remaining articles, and hopefully another step to be added to the salary ranges. We all deserve to be treated equitably and with respect. Mount Hood has worked to include equity in hiring decisions, instruction, and services to students, but still seems to not include the classified staff. So I ask you, what and who is this equity for? Only for our students, or is equity just a buzzword we use that isn't actually valued and lived out at our college? Thank you for your time.
No.
Hey.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, so my name's Steve Herb, I'm Barney Pantry Coordinator here at Martin Luther Community College. I'm going to read a statement from someone who wasn't able to be here tonight. Unfortunately, I cannot be there to work as I work a second job during the board meeting on Wednesdays, which I think is important to let them know. Dear Board Chair McKeel, esteemed board members, and Dr. Skari, I was instantly enraged on Monday, February 3rd, when I read Dr. Skari's email about the college's financial status. When I read her statement, I thought, if the college is in such financial peril, why were the upper administrators and faculty given such large raises and COLAs over the last 2 years? As I'm sure the board knows, it granted faculty a total of 49 between 2022 and 2024, which included retroactive pay. It granted administrators 37.27 between 2022 and 2024. Inflation isn't new, and the predictions of the biennium budget are not new. Therefore, it is absurd to conclude that before beginning bargaining with the MHCC-CEA, the college did not know it would have to bargain with us. It is equally absurd to conclude that the college was unaware that we would ask for a raise commensurate with inflation, especially in light of their generosity towards faculty and management. This can only lead me to conclude that either the administration of the college is largely disorganized and incapable of appropriately managing the college budget, which the board should then address immediately because of their fiscal responsibilities, especially in the light of asking taxpayers for more money in the bond, or the administration is purposely treating classified staff as if they believe we are unimportant to the mission of the college and believe that they can treat us so disrespectfully like we are the gum that they are wiping off their shoes. If there is a third option, I'd be happy to learn that. Perhaps Dr. Skari or the board can explain the third option here. If there is one, or we'll send that explanation out to all faculty and staff in full transparency of the college's financial status. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Laura, and I'm the benefits navigator in the Student Basic Needs Office, now inside our new Equity and Community Resource Center. Every day, I, alongside other CEA members, help students access the resources they need to make their education possible. Many of you may have come to celebrate the opening of the new ECRC last month. As I'm sure you can imagine, our work is significantly about relationships, the relationships that build community for students and staff alike. In fact, without CEA members and our relationships, there would be no basic needs services inside the ECRC. It would be nothing but a shiny, new, but likely mostly locked and empty space. I hope you remember the impactful story Greg Gomez shared with you about the added value that Lead Public Safety Officer Sherilyn brings to her work and to our communities. One hard-to-miss aspect of Sherilyn's skill, experience, and compassion is her longevity. There are many CEA members that are like or are aspiring to be like Sherilyn, but we can't expect her to stay with us forever, which is why I believe the future of this college depends on our ability to nurture and retain employees, community members, so that they can build longevity and continue to pass on institutional knowledge. But also hard to miss are our turnover rates. Since as recently as April 2022, I have seen the two STEP student success specialist positions turn over twice each. The student union's entire staff has turned over within a year. In the Student Basic Needs Office, I work alongside these CEA members and depend on them to help deliver the critical services they offer to students. When their positions sit vacant, students are denied access to the resources they need to continue with school. New employees rely on CEA members for training when they're retired. The college, all of us, need to do the work to create the conditions that retain our employees so that we can cultivate more Sherilyn, retain knowledge, and continue to nurture our relationships. But the administration's bargaining team wants to roll back what little protection CEA members have to promote internal hiring in our contracts. They made child care resource and referral employees submit new applications for the jobs they already had, and then for many, froze their step increases for years and restarted their vacation time accruals as if they were in their first year of employment. This includes members who have been college employees for over 20 years. They want to prevent us from building relationships with new CEA members at new employee orientation. They want to outsource our facility staff, making room for corporate profit instead of maintaining living wage jobs, ensuring the skill, experience, and retention of the staff who care about our students having clean and safe facilities. CEA members in the ECRC and everywhere across all our campuses show up every day to uphold our community and our relationships with students. At the same time, we have had to fight for a contract that will allow us to continue to do so. We will continue to stand up for our coworkers and our community. We don't want to have to see a locked, empty ECRC if CEA members are pushed to a strike. But we don't plan to leave anyone behind. Do you? Please help us ensure that the CEA contract facilitates a strong campus community that helps us retain our colleagues and build the longevity that our students need from us.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Jennifer. I'm one of the academic advisors here at MECC, and I have a little visual that I wanted to hand out. I even got it color printed. Just pass that out. So you've probably seen this graphic of equity before. What it emphasizes is that equity is not equality, right? Equality is giving everyone the same thing. Equity is giving the necessary resources to those who are already marginalized or disadvantaged so that they can achieve the same outcome as those who are not marginalized or disadvantaged. Equity adjusts the imbalances to promote justice. As members of the MHBC Board of Education, you have a great responsibility to ensure that the Mountain Hood Community College administration upholds the claims of equity that are outlined in the strategic plan. In fact, I'd like to read the MHBC's equity statement out loud, and I'll try to speak loudly so everyone can hear. Sorry if I feel like I'm shouting. Okay. At Mountain Hood Community College, we hold ourselves accountable to align our systems, policies, practices, and resource allocations to strategically and purposefully advance equity. We recognize the harm done to historically excluded people. We work towards a future where all people across the spectrum of difference thrive at Mount Hood Community College. We seek to provide every person within our community the tools to be successful. We actively design equitable systems to promote fairness and justice. Mount Hood Community College prioritizes equity and acknowledges the importance of the ongoing and intentional work to interrupt oppression and remove barriers that perpetuate inequity. We strive to become an organization that demonstrates equity in concept, practice, and outcomes, where all people are valued and feel a sense of belonging. So I ask you, does this equity statement apply to everyone except the Classified Employee Association? Yes. Who gives the highest raises to the richest employees? Only those who cannot see the forest for the trees. We are the forest, without us, this institution would cease to function. I hope that you will use your positions of leadership to convince the MHCC administration to sign a fair contract with us at tomorrow's mediation session so that we can avoid an imminent strike. Thank you.
Roxanne? Okay, and no more here, right? Okay. 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 Thank you for being here. We ask that you exit quietly. We have more meetings to go. Thank you. Thanks. Okay. Public input is now closed. Okay, item 6.0 will now move to report.
Do you want to see the video or do you want to
Do I want, what?
skip the first generation thing or did you want to show it?
I would have done it first, but, sorry, I didn't see it on here, so.
Whatever.
Oh,
That's fine.
oh, you did the budget? Okay.
For people that are still here and can hear, might be
Yeah.
actually hear the budget.
We're going to move to item 6.2, the second quarter financial update and overview of budget assumptions. Jennifer, when you
I think she's still,
It's going to take a little minute. Jennifer.
yes. You can really see where we are.
It's a folder that I have.
But I thought I had it.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Hendrik. Okay, Jennifer, whenever you're ready, we're ready for you.
I sort of made it out.
Oh.
Hopefully that's not symbolic.
I know, when I read the presentation, I just see the page. So we're going to talk a little bit about budget assumptions for next year's budget. Everyone has been busy submitting budgets, doing salary assumptions, putting everything together for the budget that we will bring to you on April 2nd as the budget committee. Oh, there's the rest of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll admit I used AI to help me write this budget presentation, so I guess that was a little extra. So assumptions that we use to build a budget.
Excuse me, can we get a microphone closer to Jennifer, please?
Oh, here.
I can hear everybody really clearly except her.
Okay. Sorry, I will try to look up and project too, because I've noticed that seems to help when you're, and can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay. So on the expenditure side, we base some assumptions when we start into the budget process. As you know, our biggest expenditure is salaries. So the assumptions that we built in on the salary side is that increases, for the most part, align with consumer price index. For some outstanding contracts and the part-time faculty contract, there's also market rate adjustments included in there. On the material and services side, we're estimating a 2% increase. That is very close to CPI for the last year. We did have some really high years, but budget managers are still putting their budgets into the system. And so we might have to do a little negotiating there. We had some people preemptively building in tariff increases and such. So we're working through that. As we get those budget requests, we'll be able to narrow down where our costs are going to be there. Good news, utility rates, the increases aren't as large as they have been the last 2 months, or 2 years, I mean. So we have a little bit of, not savings, but we don't have as big of increase. I think last year it was $200,000 or $300,000 that we had an increase for gas, water, and electricity. Tuition waivers, we have adjusted it for proposed tuition increases so that we're still giving out the same number of tuition waivers as the tuition increases. And then we've also seen increased use by employees and dependents. So that's a benefit for all of our employees, have tuition waivers for them and their dependents. And so during COVID, we didn't see a lot of use, but that usage is starting to tick up. So those are sort of built into the base budget assumptions. Getting into a little more detail on the personnel side, as I said before, salaries increases are in line with the consumer price index and or market adjustments. PERS is the other huge cost increase for us. If you might recall, our PERS rates only change once every 2 years, so every biennium, and July is the beginning of a new biennium. So we are looking at pretty significant rate increases from 1.1% to 4.4%, so that's a blended rate, so that's a 3% rate increase, but our salary base is $52 million, right? So 3% of $52 million is a pretty hefty increase. And then we also have an increase on our pension bonding from about 17 to 19%, so another 2% there. So there's definitely pension cost increases that are impacting the budget. And then healthcare, and their OEBB is Oregon Educator Benefit Board. There's legislative caps at 3.5% at premium increases, which means that every year we see a 3.5% premium increase guaranteed. So we've built that into our base budget assumptions as well. On the revenue side, state support increase. This felt a lot better in December. I'm not really sure where we're at now, but what I built into our base assumptions is a 6.9% increase over last biennium. That is the governor's requested budget. So it's sometimes conservative to base it only on that, but there has been a real big focus at the state level on healthcare, Medicaid, Medicare program funding. I don't think education will be as high of a priority. And how we built this in is a 3.5% increase each year. So it'll be 6.9% over the biennium, which will help us smooth out cost increases in the second year of the biennium. Enrollment is still looking really healthy. We're projecting an increase of 3 to 5%. I used 4% in the forecasting, and that's just based on no significant changes in our pipeline of students that we have. So that's good news on the revenue side. And then we're going to talk about tuition. So I always like to show this chart, which might, hopefully you guys can see it. I tried to make the font as big as possible. I'm sure Annette can see it just fine. So this is current year tuition per credit hour. So you can see low end, Chemeketa, I don't know how they do it. They've kept their tuition at $104 a credit hour. Top end is Lane at $145. The statewide average is the yellow column, and that's $123, and the red bar is Mount Hood, and we're at $124. So we're $1 per credit higher than the statewide average, $9 per credit less than PCC, and $1 less than Clackamas. So when you look at our regional impact. Then we always have to look at it the other way, right? And we can talk about tuition per credit hour, but a lot of us have fees that are assessed to all students. So we have a technology fee and a student activity fee and an access fee. And so if you annualize and assume a student attends 15 credits per term for 3 terms, this is the annual cost of tuition at Mount Hood. So the red bar again is Mount Hood. We're at $6,559 a year. The statewide average is $6,720. We have Lane still at the high end at nearly $8,000, and Tillamook Bay is actually on the low end here at just over $6,000. So we are 2% below the statewide average, 4% higher than Clackamas, and less than 1% off from from PCC, Mount Hood West. And so we're looking at a proposed tuition increase. In the past, we've tried to keep it, well, we're still trying to keep it as low as we can, but one of our guiding principles for tuition increases has been the Higher Education Price Index, or the HEPI, as it's referenced on here. And so the Higher Education Price Index is an inflation index that's specifically designed to track higher ed cost drivers. So they look at cost in education for faculty, classified staff, the materials and services, the basket of goods that a higher education institution would purchase. So it's a little bit different than what you would see for CPI. So as you can see in this chart, we have consistently kept our tuition below the cost increases that are being experienced by higher education. So the orange line is the Higher Education Price Index, and you can see where it really spiked up there in 2022. And the yellow line is what Mount Hood's tuition increase has been as a percentage. So for example, 3.4% for 2024, our current year tuition increase was 1.6%. And so we have kept it really low. What we are proposing for next year's tuition increase is 3%. So still below the Higher Education Price Index. It rounds to about $4 per credit hour. Why would we want to increase tuition? Let me tell you our overall budget. When we put all of those expenditure assumptions and the revenue assumptions together, we are spending more than we're getting by about $4.5 million. It's about the same as we're doing the current year. We've built in money for the contract, but we're still deficit spending. So we have reserves to do that. But our reserves, if we do this, move forward with this budget, including a 3% tuition increase, our reserves are projected to hit the minimum of 10% of expenditure. So when I say the minimum, I wouldn't be comfortable bringing a proposed budget with less than 10%. It's about $9 million, maybe 3 or 4 months worth of expenditure. So when you think about, getting an email one morning saying you're not going to get any federal reimbursements, thinking about having cash in the bank becomes really important, because I'll tell you, like, the day that we got that first memo, we had just dispersed financial aid 2 weeks before and spent $5 million of our own money to financial aid students that we hadn't been reimbursed from yet. So when those systems all got pulled offline, we were like, so having reserves is really important, even if it's just for cash flow, and we've really experienced that in this last 30 days. It's been like really long 30 days. So this is the last year that we can maintain the spending power, and we will have hopefully all of our contracts in place. We'll be able to do some long-term projections. We are looking at some contingency reduction plans, given that we're assuming that we're going to get 6.9% from the state. Understanding that there's just a lot in the air, and if that funding doesn't come through, we will need to make reductions. But we probably won't know how much state funding we get before we ask the board to approve the budget. Guaranteed. Yeah, guaranteed we won't know.
Never fails.
Yeah, I mean, and that is normal. And so in the past, the last couple of times we've done the governor's requested budget amount in our budget, and it's actually come out a little bit higher, which has allowed us to kind of build back those reserves. So that's my hope, and we shall see what happens with the state budget this year. So does anybody have questions?
Can any of this ever get explained in the bargaining process?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's good.
We have done.
Questions for Jennifer? Thank you as always.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh.
Mr. Toyer, did you?
Oh, and then,
Oh, Annette has a question. Sorry. Annette.
Yeah, I know this is just part of the mid discussions we're gonna have, and excuse me if you mentioned this and I didn't hear it because still recovering from the flu and my brain's not fully functioning here. But are we prepared at all for worst case scenario? Are we confident as far as our expenses that we won't be losing any federal funding that we have currently or that we've already been promised or anything along those lines with the threats of the Department of Ed and us all being defunded and promises not kept?
My confidence level is not high, but it's not low. We have been doing a lot of analysis of the federal funding that we receive. We receive about $30 million in federal funding, which is about 26% of our total resources. There are a lot of grant programs that are pretty independent from college operations. So if those programs went away, people would lose jobs, we would have to discontinue programs. The thing that I think concerns me the most is like not being able to access student financial aid for our students. That's the largest portion of our federal dollars is for student financial aid. So if something were to happen there, I think all higher ed would be rethinking maybe Harvard or some Ivy Leagues that have huge endowments would be okay, but I think everybody else would be in a lot of trouble. But we're going to talk more about that at the retreat on Friday.
Okay, thank you.
I was wondering, have you guys done the numbers, say if you did another $2 increase instead of a $4 increase?
What the difference would be? Yeah, I don't know that off the top of my head, but I think it's like $223,000 per percentage. So it'd be about $500,000 if we did a $2 increase that we would end up needing to cut.
And have there been any floating around potentially raising the fees?
There are a few fee increases. So that's our March board meeting, and we will be bringing tuition and fee adjustments to the board. I know there's a small increase to the technology fee, and I think the ASD fee is a proposed increase to the student government fee. And then all of the other fee adjustments are course fee related, and they're based on the actual expense that's associated with it. But we'll bring all of those. We'll bring more spreadsheets than you ever wanted to see to our board meeting and talk through those tuition and fees.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, item 6.3 was the comprehensive facilities plan update, and Charles Jordan unfortunately was not able to be with us tonight due to unforeseen circumstances, so this presentation will move to our March meeting. Okay, item 7.0 is the consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? The motion carries. Item 7.2 is the Mountain Community College Head Start and Oregon School Association contract ratification. I'd like to invite Carrie, who's here, and Ross, are you?
Just Carrie.
Carrie. Okay, go ahead, Carrie.
I bring good news. So, we recently reached tentative agreement with the Oregon School Employees Association. This contract covers the period July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2026. It was approved by their membership on February 12th and their policy council last night, and so we are recommending the board approve the tentatively agreed upon contract.
Okay, are there any questions? Not, may I have a motion to approve the MHCC Head Start and Oregon School Association contract ratification?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the contract ratification. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you. Okay, all right, item 7.3, are we okay?
Yeah, we're
Okay,
good.
okay.
No, we're good.
Okay, board policy and administrative regulation process. So, Dr. Scari, to present on the 2025 board policy and administrative regulation process.
So a small minor thing, you'll remember in your packet I sent you, we're gonna be talking about a proposed AR and a standard operating procedure at our retreat. I didn't get that message to Roxanne, so, 7.3 is moved to the retreat, so we'll see what's happening. But 7.4,
Oh, yes, so now move to board policy review. This will be the first reading of chapter 5, student services board policy 5140, accessible education services and student disability services, and chapter 7, human resources board policy 7120, recruitment and hiring. Our goal for tonight is to conduct the first reading of the proposed board policies in chapter 5 and 7 and place each policy in one of the 3 categories. Move forward to second reading as is, or move forward to second reading with revisions, or postpone the second reading. So we'll begin by having Dr. Scari introduce the policy and share any relevant comments about each policy. We will not be reading it out loud. After the introduction, I will ask if you are comfortable with moving the policy forward to a second reading as is, or if you need additional clarification or would like discussion. We'll follow the majority rule in moving forward or having a discussion. So we will begin with board policy 5140, accessible education services and student disability services. So, Lisa, go.
and for those of you that went through the whole process of a conversion, this will feel significantly lighter than what you've done in the past. So for board policy 5140, the only change here is that we needed to add an ORS that had been missing in the past. So it's not changing any of the language, just that ORS that's in red. But because we don't yet have administrative regulation on technical edits, we need to bring it to you.
Oh, you have to label it. You're basically having to label it. Okay.
So that would be the
59A.
only change with 51.
Okay. Are there any questions?
I think we can move that forward.
Okay.
Okay, if everyone's comfortable moving the policy forward to the second reading, just give me a thumbs up. That's all I need. Okay, we got it. Okay, it will go to the second reading. Next is board policy 7120, recruitment and hiring.
On this one, we added one line to reflect our board policy 7100, which is our commitment to diversity. Looking for Jennifer if there is any particular guidance that we got from OCCA on.
This was entirely their recommendation, with the exception of, we added the reference to the board policy on diversity.
Okay.
Any questions? So if you're comfortable with moving this policy forward to the second reading, give me a thumbs up. Okay. That will move forward, thank you. That's the end of our policy review for policies in chapter 5 and 7. Much shorter than our other. Okay, the board policies are moving forward for a second reading, and board vote will be on the board agenda for the March 19th regular meeting. Any board policies that need additional revisions will not move forward for a second reading at this time and will be revisited at a future meeting. Oh, well, we don't have to. Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, we're moving to, are we going back to this? No. Okay, item 8.0, board member and community liaison report. Before we get into the reports, we'd like to take a minute to review the draft agenda for March meeting. And please note there won't be a work session in March. So, okay. Do we have the facilities plan update on there? Is it on there? Okay. Oh, there. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's pretty full of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but it's on there. I just didn't see it, so. Okay, any comments or questions on the agenda? Okay, thank you. Okay, item 8.2. So at this time, we're going to discuss the bond and PAC and any updates to those areas since the last board meeting. So that is Andrew. Well, we'll all discuss it, but you could talk about PAC updates? Okay, Andrew.
Yeah, me first.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, last week I attended with most of the board, the ACCT NLS, for our national lobbying trip, in DC, and it was an interesting time to be in DC for obvious reasons, but I think what was good, Lisa and I had meetings with staff from, Senator Wyden and Senator Merkley's offices. Was helpful to connect with staff and give them data and information. Lisa provided them with the amount of grants that we receive and was able to kind of give context over that about what is related to our higher ed and then what's related to Head Start. So we had some good conversations with them about need and timing, issues we've had with payments. Then we also met with Representative Dexter and Bynum, which was good to meet them as our new representatives. And then I think we were able to provide each representative with both the national and state priorities from our work in OCCA and then ACCT collectively. So it was a good trip overall and impactful, I think, just to get information to the offices of staff at each office. And then in terms of bond work, so the PAC is up and going. We've hired a campaign manager since our last meeting, and I've been working with that person directly. Claire Colmer is her name, so if you see emails from her, she's just introducing herself and then either making asks on specific items. So both key staff like faculty presidents or classified president be reaching out to you to invite you to some events. Next Thursday night, we have a campaign kickoff event, scheduled, and you should be receiving invites for that as well. And so the purpose of that will be to get people activated and get people up to speed on where the PAC is at with our campaign efforts, and then be able to also just get practical things done, like get endorsement forms signed, and in, because we have deadlines in March for getting that to the voters pamphlet.
And that'll be next Thursday.
Yeah, the event,
6:30.
the event is at 6:30 next Thursday. And if you don't, if for some reason you don't get an invite and you're interested in following up, my personal email is Speer, SPEERAJ @gmail, and you can feel free to reach out to me with any PAC-related questions or just wanting to connect. Outside of that, those are the major updates. But if you have any interest in wanting to get more engaged, just faculty and staff generally, please reach out to me directly on my personal email.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Andrew on the PAC or the bond or what we're doing there? Okay, we're now to item 8.3, the Community Engagement Committee update. So, Diane, Marie, are you Marie?
Dana, no. We kind of left it up, last time we talked, we were talking about once the PAC got together and decided they would kind of direct us as to where they needed us the most during the bond campaign, and so to continue with the appointments that we've got set up already at the city council meetings and whatnot coming up, but
Yeah.
kind of just looking to your direction for which way to point us and what to do. We talked at the, in the restaurant the other day about some different ideas to get the word out to our spheres of influence and people we know, each individually, as much as possible.
Yeah, between now
And the different communities.
Between now and March 20th, we need to prioritize endorsements for the voters pamphlet. And then kind of after that deadline, we'll then be able to start working on kind of ground game stuff. And then fundraising needs to be just kind of continuous within that, you know, from now to end of April into May. So the campaign will be reaching out, making like specific asks, mostly around endorsements in the short term, and then like more targeted asks as we get into like more, you know, ground game and community engagement or presentations.
Yeah, Dana had a lot of ideas with respect to interest groups that, you know, we wouldn't normally have on our list of contacts.
And just the publicity in general.
Yeah, and she did write up those notes. So,
she sent that to you guys, right?
no?
I don't.
Yeah. Okay, good. We'll tell Dana that she needs to send that. I thought,
She did too.
how did it gone?
It's just an idea that we had.
Yeah.
Okay. She's, you know, 2 days after surgery.
Okay, thank you. So item 8.4, board member reports. We'll now hear the board member and committee liaison reports. Let's try to keep it to 3 minutes if we can. Okay, Diane Noriega, would you like to start us off?
I can. It's been a busy month. February 4th, Marie and I were in Happy Valley, making a presentation to the city council on our bond, and we got overwhelming positive response. They took all of our endorsement forms and they're going to endorse us at council, and the mayor is also going to.
Yeah.
So that was really.
And they took photos again. They're pretty excited. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, and Jennifer was with us. So that was really fun. And then, on February 11th, I was at Wood Village with Charles George, because Jennifer was sick. And so, and I didn't know that he was gonna be there.
Oh.
So I'm looking around for Jennifer thinking, oh my God, what happened? Anyway, that went really well, and of course, the mayor was on our bond planning committee.
Yeah.
So, he is very, very enthusiastic. All the members, save one, were ready to endorse on the spot. But, there was one board member who needed more information. And so Charles very graciously said, oh, we'll come and do a whole detailed presentation for you. And I said, well, maybe just send some, written information that will help her to, decide. And it wasn't that she objected to it, it was just that she wanted more information. But all in all, the reception was extremely positive. Then last night, Lisa and I were at Sandy City Council. Again, we received a very warm welcome, and again, everyone was with us, except for one person who said, Robert, I'd really like more information. And so we committed ourselves to providing him with some more information, but I left them with the endorsement forms, and I think just about everyone, I think he will endorse as well. He just wanted a little bit more information. So, yeah, that's been my month.
Good. Great, thank you. I think there's new board members on some of these boards too who hadn't heard our first presentation when we went around. So I'm thinking those are the people that maybe are wanting a little more information because they hadn't seen the initial when we had gone around to present, so. Okay, Shatoya, would you like to go next?
Sure.
Okay.
I went to the ACCT,
The legislative conference?
it was a long 5 days.
Yeah.
But that Saturday, I was able to participate in their DEI committee. It was my first and multiple folks' first committee meeting, and it was a very controversial topic. So, and actually, I don't want to just call it DEI, it's diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it was a packed house. So, from the board of ACCT down to a lot of the staffers of ACCT, they wanted to know what the decision of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee was going to decide on based on changing the name of it. And that was the third meeting of having a discussion over the past year and a half of if they were going to change the name due to multiple colleges weren't even able to participate in ACCT due to their state changing laws saying they couldn't participate with anything that had diversity, equity, and inclusion in it. So it was that, and also ACCT gets federal funding, they get federal contracts, and so they had two people facilitate the conversation, which was Dr. Charlene Duke and Keith from Compton Community College. They were amazing facilitators because we were kind of bumping heads on if we should change the name, should we not change the name to maintain what it's standing for. However, they ended up changing it to Impact and Success Committee, and it was mainly just so ACCT wouldn't be in the crossfires of the current administration, and also making sure that folks can actually participate to the full extent, because it's there, for all community colleges to engage in, whether their state allows them to. And then it was multiple factors. But what I valued the most was the lawyers that came and talked about with the executive orders that we've seen that impact community colleges, what that actually means, and is certain things necessary, like changing the name, or if it's not, it's mainly up to what the colleges decide, and something that I've heard today, and which I stand firm with, is we're institutions that follow the law before the current administration was in there. We're gonna continue following the law, and that is what it is, regardless if it's diversity, equity, or inclusion, or whatever the name is. It's all about serving students, faculty, and staff in the communities that we serve. That should be uplifted a lot more than what the current administration is encouraging here. So that was my experience, first time on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee on a national level, which it was very impactful, and I just value bringing that to the school in our discussions moving forward.
Okay.
What an introduction for DEI, right?
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Satoya. Andrew, did you have more to add?
Sorry, I misunderstood what you asked in the beginning.
I probably misspoke it, but it's
I don't
okay.
have anything additional to
Okay,
add.
okay. Marie?
Okay, on February 4th, I went with Diane to, and
Happy Valley.
yeah, to the, where were we? Happy Valley,
Happy
yeah.
Valley.
You already heard about that. And then on the 4th, a few of us were here for the student town hall, and it was really interesting to, you were there, weren't you? Yeah.
Yes.
And it was interesting that they had us sit at the tables, and then the students, rotated around, and we got to ask a few questions, and it seemed like the feedback I got, most of our students are here because of where they live geographically, or because of the cost that was affordable. That's what kind of came out of pretty much everybody that I talked to. They did talk about, when we asked about some of their wants and needs, sort of, what their opinion was of campus. There were things that came up like they felt like they could use more tutors to help them improve their grades. The tutoring doesn't seem to be easily accessible, I guess, to some people, which kind of surprised me, but it could have just been that individual, I'm not sure. But another thing that came up was to try to get to be able to transport around the campus, like on scooters or bikes or something, because it's a long way from one end to the other, and out in the weather and stuff. They thought that'd be a great idea. And then the food areas close at 2 and the bathrooms close at 5, so it makes it hard for people that are here later. And then one thing that I thought was interesting was people said, if you have a problem with the computers, or you have internet goes down or whatever, it'd be nice if there was somebody they could call after hours or on weekends. And maybe they said, well, maybe somebody that's in the IT department could be like on call, so that they could call somebody, because if they're doing classes online or something, and I'm not sure how all that connects, but there's nobody to call if something happens and then they miss out. So that was good. And then somebody brought up that in the parking lot by the gym, steps were broken and there were no handrails. And they would like to see, some people would like to see more in-person classes, because online's just not for everyone. And then One said, they'd like to see more foreign languages. There used to be more, but now there's only 3. And I think that's about it there. But it was fun to talk to everybody and get their input. It was really good. And, you know, they seemed to really appreciate the fact that we were there. I heard that too, thanking us for just being there. And then, of course, the Legislative Summit in DC was mind-blowing. I know we were all there, well, sorry, except for you and Dana, but, one of the things that I thought was, I mean, there was so much information, but I like how they came out with the 5 executive orders and had them up on the screen and then broke everything down and sort of talked about what they meant. And they made it clear that these are executive orders from the President of the United States, that they are not the new laws. And they really clarified that and said, you know, it doesn't happen because he says so, sort of thing. But one of the things that came out of that, to kind of add on to what Shatoya was saying, is they are advising community colleges to prepare for audits of their DEI and supportive programs because audits are likely going to be happening, and we need to be prepared because we don't know what's going to happen to all of it. That was one of the things, and pushing the Pell Grant. It was fun going to the Capitol and seeing how all that worked. Got a lot of exercise, and just the overall support. It was interesting to see Senator Wyden and Merkley and get the input from the students being there. I think that made a big impact on everybody, and I think one of the things I took away too is they talked about how community colleges are now the only sector that is still below its 2019 level, even though enrollment growth at community colleges was stronger than at public or PNP four-year colleges. I thought that was interesting. The gains, they said, were driven mostly by the dual enrolled high school students and older students, not the 18 to 21 group. And they said that lower income students are growing faster after failing the farthest behind during the pandemic. That's interesting too, but yeah, a lot of great information. But it was really good. Yeah, it was really good. And I stayed a little longer, as you know, and my knee got completely raw from those rough sidewalks. Whoa. Yeah. That rough aggregate just about killed me. Told my husband to rent a car. Finally did. But anyway, it was fun. A lot of traffic, a lot of people.
Thanks, Marie. Annette, would you like to go next?
Sure. I'll just be really brief here. We've already heard about the Washington, D.C. trip, so that was excellent. And excuse me. I don't recall because my head and my hearing are a bit off here, but I don't. Shatoya, did you comment on the David Douglas presentation we did? Okay, so we did it. Yeah, we did a bond presentation. Shatoya and Lisa and I last. When was that? Yeah, we did one. Whenever that was. And then lastly, just on the student town hall, to be brief, the main things that I heard were, let's see, a couple of students mentioned they wish they had an after hours place because they take evening classes, and they said there wasn't any place to get food, and they were unaware. They said there was no place. I don't know if they're unaware of a place where they could go and say, you get off work, you're there for an evening class, to eat your dinner. You know, if you did bring something to eat, there was no place you could go inside and be warm and do that. So that was something they were concerned about. Interestingly, one of the other students wished there was some break period in the middle of the day where all classes were out and you could, like, I guess like you'd call it like a uniform campus-wide lunch break. A couple other students brought up, seat time versus learning time. You know, do you really need that many physical hours of seat time to earn that many credits? Are you looking more at time versus quality of learning, instruction and versus the, the content. And felt that maybe there was too much emphasis on seat time versus content in learning and credits. And then the last thing on what I felt really, the positive stuff I really heard about was they felt supported by their instructors and by everyone around campus. And most importantly, they felt safe. And I honestly, I asked that one because we have students, of course, who are immigrants. We have many students of color. We have students that are from other countries. And I asked them all this. And to a student, everyone said that they felt safe on campus. And I think that's something we should all feel really good about. And I'm really glad our students feel that way. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Annette. So my board report for the month is on January 21st, I attended with a number of Mounted College folks, the Gresham Chamber Business Lunch, where they had the new Gresham City Councilors that were elected and what their priorities were for the city. And on the January 22nd, we had a Core Bond Committee meeting. And on January 26th, I attended the Senator Murphy and Representative Dexter had a town hall at McDaniel High School, which is down on 82nd. I attended that town hall. And on the 29th, we had a Core Bond Committee meeting. On February 4th, we had the City of Gresham presentation. On February 5th, we had the student forum that Marie and Annette just talked about. So, and on February 5th, we had, also we had the City of Fairview presentation that evening. And then on February 7th, we had the Gresham Chamber AM. February, of course, 9th through 12th was the legislative conference, and you've heard all about that. And so then February 18th was a Gresham Chamber lunch again, and this was the Gresham Barlow School Board, School Board and Superintendent, for the speakers there. And then this morning, I attended the West Columbia Gorge Chamber of Commerce AM, they call it the Chamber Chat, and then we had a Core Bond meeting today, too. So that's my report. So thank you, everyone. Okay, we'll now hear updates from our advisory representatives, and I like to make a friendly reminder to keep your comments and to policy and program matters only. Thank you, and we look forward to hearing your updates. The ASMHCC representative, you're doing that tonight? Good. Okay, please, welcome.
Thank you. Is this my time?
Yes, it's your time.
Well, obviously, I'm not the person who normally does this, so I can introduce myself formally.
Yeah.
My name is David Figueroa. I hold the Financial Affairs Representative title for this year.
Great.
Just reading off the thing. So I'm stepping in this week for the Student Body President, and I'm excited to share an update for you, sort of what we've been working on since we last met. So on January 27th and 28th, we hosted an annual club fair for the term. That is a place where students could get some snacks and get familiar with the extracurriculars available to them. And in that event, we served about 200 students.
Oh, wonderful.
So January 29th and February 4th, we organized the budget forum. In that event, students had the chance to understand where their fee money is going. They had a chance to sort of look into the budgets that were proposed for next year, and then it was an engageable session where they asked questions, we answered to the best of our abilities, and there was food provided, of course. February 4th, that same day, earlier, ASMHCC participated in a volunteer service project. We volunteered in the Immigrant and Refugee Community Organization, or IRCO. There, we gave back to the community by helping clean, organize, and prepare donations for the new beginning market, which was very fun. Day after that, February 5th, we hosted a meet and greet with ASMHCC, the college president, and the Board of Education. That event was a great success, and students showed up, attended, and asked insightful questions. February 10th, the City Union held a Black History Month event. That's where students watched a featured film called Stamped from the Beginning and engaged in meaningful discussions led by UC Simmons. February 12th, the student activities team hosted our Heartbeat Retreat, where nearly 250 students attended. It was a chance for students to celebrate Valentine's Day in a positive and inclusive way. And we provided a space to share relationship joys and concerns in health and supportive environment, and enjoyed fruit smoothies, cookies, and cupcakes. Yesterday, ASMHCC voted to unanimously approve the proposed budget narratives for the co-curricular and athletic finance councils for the 2025-2026 school year. The proposed budgets will soon be sent to you guys for review and approval. Thank you guys for having me.
Great, thank you so much. We love your reports. You students are just so active and doing so much, so we appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, next, 9.2 is our advisory representative. John, would you like to share that FTFA report with us?
Hi.
Hi.
So, just want to start with, we are very, full-time faculty, very supportive of our classified staff and what they're going through, so we stand behind them. We hope that the college and classified can come to a tentative agreement on everything tomorrow. That would be great. Right, we got other things we need to do, right? Including, like, we found that dear colleague, or whatever that letter that was sent out by, I forgot who it was,
Department of Education.
Our Department of Education, very disturbing, right? I mean, I think probably all of you read it, and we're pretty freaked out, right? And it came up in Senate, and my faculty are afraid, because some of them are teaching material in their classroom that could be spotlighted, right? And not, and just part of, because they feel like that's a well-rounded curriculum, right? So it goes into different ideas. So I have had faculty come up to me and say, what are my protections here if I'm teaching this stuff in the classroom, right? Things that are trying to teach them critical thinking skills, right? Just exposing them to different perspectives, different non-traditional authors, things like that. So I have had faculty, and so far the college, at least from the dean's level and all that, says that they're supported, but I'm very worried, right, about what could happen here and exposure for my individual faculty members. We're just in trying times, right? And so talked to Lisa, the president, about this, and yes, we will stand with you, right, and whatever action needs to be, we need to do to protect our students, protect our college, right? Because we are on a mission here, right, to make this a better place for everyone. So I think we are completely unified on what our objective is here in the work, right? Whether we have to label it or whatever we need to do. I am not that excited about relabeling because it feels like surrendering a little bit, and I'm more of a let's get up. I'm not a fighter, right? I am Japanese culture, we're very much a get along with everyone, right? And integrate into the system, but I am feeling like this is maybe not the right time. We need to show our students that we're willing to stand up for what's right, to give them space so they can also have a voice in this process. And I'm also worried that they are sowing the seed to try to divide us in the work, right? To split us apart, split factions off, right? And I think this is an opportunity for all of us to come together, right? We are unified 100%, right, on this. And faculty association stand behind the work that we're trying to do with the college, right? The message from the board has been clear, right? We just don't know what to do, and I get it, you guys kind of don't know either, right? So when we figure it out, let's do something about it, right? Whatever it turns out to be, right? Because everyone's a lawyer, they're looking at this, they don't really know, might be tied up in the courts for years, I don't know. The DEI faculty group is making progress. We're almost done with a book, right? We invited the author to come. They couldn't make it, so one of their colleagues is going to come and do a book. So we'll be done with reading the book. We're talking about it as a book group to do a Grading for Equity book. So we invited the author, couldn't make it, but we invited one of the people that who works with very closely to campus. He's gonna, not zooming in the campus, so that we're gonna have a Q&A session. They're gonna present some of the ideas in the book. We're gonna ask questions about it. That's how we're wrapping up our last DEI faculty group for the term. That'll be 2 weeks from Friday. This Friday, we're actually canceling our DEI faculty group because the Oregon Department of, I have to read it because it's really long. The Oregon Department of Justice Civil Rights Unit is coming to talk about the Sanctuary Commerce Program and hotline for our community members. So that's happening at the same time we would normally have our DEI faculty group meetings. We decided to cancel it. Our members, the DEI faculty group, though, has decided as a group we're going to watch that presentation together, even if it's a Zoom presentation. We invite other faculty to join us, but at least the group of 16 will be all together so we can actively discuss the ideas. We're very concerned about all of this. But I did learn that Oregon has the oldest sanctuary state policy in the country, right? It was passed in 1987. One of the reasons why I decided to move here wasn't for that example, but I came from Kentucky, right? There ain't no sanctuary, nothing, right? And I would be the only Asian person I would see all day long until I got home, right? And we decided to move to Oregon for all of this, right? So, and I didn't know that this work was in my future, but this is a place where we can feel protected enough, right, to do the work. And that comes from you guys as well, right? So we gotta be brave, right? And we lead by example and show our students that we're brave, we show our staff that we're brave. We also pick our battles too, right? So, but we're willing to work with you to make sure that so if you have an ask of us about this, I have the people that can work on this, right? I'm building a team of people that we can work together on these issues, right? That's what the faculty group, the DEI faculty group is for, right? And in time of crisis, let's call on, let's do it, right? Any questions?
Yeah.
I think so. It's the time to fight. Let's go. Right?
Thanks, John. Okay, thank you. Yes. Yes.
Just all in all, what ACCT chose to do, I don't want that to be perceived as that's a reflection of what Mount Hood is going to do. That was just an example of what an institution chose to do. That doesn't necessarily mean that Mount Hood is going to follow suit. I just wanted to clarify.
I think it's difficult to judge other groups, other situations. But I only know this place, this group, and my faculty, and I think doing that now would not seem like, I think we'd be sending the wrong message to my faculty group here. But I get it, other places, everyone has to make their own choices, right?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Michael, CEA report?
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I spent a long time trying to figure out what I wanted to talk about this month. Last month when I spoke, it was on the eve of our first mediation session. I was hoping that would be the last one, but here we are again on the eve of number 2. And I think that's really what I want to share, is that we, the classified bargaining unit, we're really ramping up for a strike. We are really, really serious about trying to finish bargaining. We've made it very clear, and our members agree with us, that we don't want to strike. We want to continue to do our jobs. We want fair and equitable contract, and if we need to, we will be ready. And that's where we're at right now. That's a lot of the work that's happening. I have a lot of people that are talking with non-members and talking within departments and really trying to mobilize. So, that's the work. Once we get a contract, hopefully tomorrow, it'll be time to fire up the contract maintenance committee. It'll be time to move on to other goals that our union has, particularly around welcoming our new employees each month and continuing to engage our employees that have been around for 20 plus years and continue to support child care resource and referral. But there's no doubt that the work we're doing right now is mobilizing. I have a group that's excited to mobilize and get behind bargaining and hopefully see tomorrow some really good movement. And I genuinely am an optimist, and I am optimistic going into tomorrow. And I hope we find some good news tomorrow, even if we have to be here late. Thank you so much.
Okay, any questions for Michael? No?
I don't know if it's a question, but, and I don't even know if it's my place to say so, but, you know, we can't respond when everyone's down here talking, but it's hard to hear that we don't care, and that's just not true. And I just hope that that's not really perceived by everyone, that we don't care, because it's just not true. It's just we want it to work out for everyone, but some pretty harsh things are being said, but I understand why, and I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or otherwise, but it seems like sometimes the focus starts getting really personal toward everyone, rather than just staying with the facts. But, you know, I'm not involved in any of the bargaining or anything, and I know that, but I never felt that before when everyone's been here. I love the camaraderie and the support with each other and all that, but it seemed like I heard it so much more tonight, that we don't care or we don't have respect, and it's unfortunate the things that the classified staff feels that way, or maybe I'm just being too sensitive. That could be too. I mean, I've been tired, I'm telling you. I was on a long trip and I got back late last night, so maybe I'm just being oversensitive. But I can speak for myself, and that we do care, and we want it to work out for everybody too.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I think a quote I think about often, especially over the last month or so, has been that tension is necessary for resolution. And I think we're at a point right now where the tension is high.
Very high.
In a lot of different places. But I find optimism in that it's sometimes necessary for resolution. It's something that I carry with me, not just here at work, but in my personal life as well. So, yeah, I think we have a lot of people on campus that also feel it personally, that see the no contract since July 1 and the bargaining, that they're also taking it personal.
Sure.
And so I understand that we have some members that are really upset, and I understand where you're coming from. So hopefully the tension is now and we find resolution.
Yeah, it's a good point. Good point you made.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Thank you, everyone.
Marilyn?
Hi there. Well, you all have frozen a couple of times while Michael was talking. So what I think is my internet is unstable, so I will try to be brief and hopefully I won't freeze in the process. I want to start off by saying that I certainly support the efforts to get a fair and reasonable and equitable contract for our classified employees. As Michael mentioned, I hope tomorrow is the day. You know, all the parties can determine if tomorrow is the day. And hopefully it will be. I think it was yesterday I sent the PFTA's winter term newsletter to Roxanne, and she let me know that she was going to be forwarding it to you all. So, you know, I hope if you haven't already that you'll take a few minutes to look it over. I think it'll give you a good sense of some of the things that have been on the PFTA's plate, and also just, you know, the efforts that we make to get the word out about certain events that are happening that we think that our members could, you know, partake in and appreciate. And, you know, certainly if you have questions for me or feedback about the newsletter, I would be happy to answer questions or accept feedback either now or at another time. And so that I don't forget, Shatoya, I have a question for you that I'm hoping you'll be able to answer. I attempted to jot down the new name of the formerly DEI committee, and all I got was what I think is the third word, which is success. So could I get the actual name of the committee?
Yeah, it's impact and success.
Ah, okay, cool. All righty. Thank you. Appreciate that. And then I heard some wonderful comments about, you know, from the students that happened in the student town hall. And, you know, I maybe you all already have this in place, but if there isn't already a process by which you all can give feedback to the students, I would encourage you to create that. And, you know, I heard the question about food in the evening or a place where people could go to eat, even if they brought their own food. I don't think the board necessarily should be expected to have all those answers, but I think that the students who participated in that session would feel honored, would feel heard, would feel seen if there's a way to give them feedback later. And one of the reasons why I thought of this is someone mentioned, I honestly don't remember who, I'd have to look at my notes, but that restrooms close at 5 p.m. I actually teach in the evenings, and my class finishes at 9:30, and the restrooms are open till about 10 p.m. So that's a piece of information to be able to get back to someone. And I say this not in the spirit of you're wrong, but of empowering of our students to make sure they have the information they need in order to be successful and to know what is available and when it is available. So if there's not already a process, I would just encourage you all to create that process, because that feels like it would be closing the loop too on, you know, the board getting information. Then what do we do with it? We give feedback to those people again. So that's my report for tonight. Thank you all for your good work.
Thank you, Meryl.
Thank you.
Thank you. Somebody have their hand up, or am I missing?
No.
Okay. Okay, item 9.3, executive leadership. The executive leadership has included their monthly division reports in the board packet, and we'd like to provide an opportunity to share any new updates that may not be included in this written report. So, Don Hamlin, I thought I saw you on the Zoom. Are you there?
Must have dropped.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Tina, I see you on. So do you have any updates or instruction that you'd like to share?
And no updates tonight, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Tina. Jennifer Demet, any new updates?
Jennifer had an emergency, she had to step out.
Oh,
but
all right.
I want to, on her behalf, she asked me to hand out our new popular annual financial report.
Oh, good.
Which is our regular report to the community around our budget and finances.
Thank you.
And this year, I'm combining this with my own update, but this year we worked to create, to use this as an opportunity to emphasize MHCC's value to the community. So you'll probably be seeing this piece at some of our community events.
Good.
And Douglas, has a little storytelling in there, and wanted to share it.
Great. Okay, thanks. And now you, Jennifer, do you have any updates?
The only thing I just would add is it was a wonderful privilege to be able to go to the National Legislative Summit with the board, and I really enjoyed that and gained a lot of great information that I think I can use to support MHCC communications.
Great, thank you. Lisa.
So we're gonna dive into a lot of topics on Friday, so I'll leave some of that for then, but leave us on a high note. First of all, enrollment is looking good for sure, now we're at about 4.5%. Pleased with that. Our target was 5, so we're a little bit under, but still, happy with that. And, we're going to show a video that some of you may have seen at the ECRC opening, but for those of you who didn't, it's a perfect way to end it.
Being a first-generation college student means being fearless. It means taking risks on yourself, but making an investment in your future. It's about planning for more and wanting a better life.
None of my family history went to college for many generations. In this generation, my siblings and I, we were the first generation in our family going to college. And that made our family really proud.
I'm really proud that I'm like the first one in my family to go to college, because I know for sure that my parents didn't have the opportunity in Mexico. So they like really are proud of me, because I know for sure my mom wanted to be a nurse, but she wasn't able to get that opportunity due to financial resources. So I'm really proud of being here at MHCC to accomplish my goal too as well.
When I moved to the US, the first thing that my relatives told me was, oh, you need to be prepared that you will never learn English, that you will work cleaning jobs, that you will work caregiving jobs all of your life. It's going to be really hard. You're not going to make a lot of money, but at least you're not living in your old country anymore. And I said, I do not want to do that. I was only 18 when I moved here. And yes, I didn't speak any English. Yes, I didn't have any background of like some specific job, but I said I'm going to pursue something better, and that's what I did.
I mean, honestly, like I didn't feel like I had very much support in the world until I started college, and there's just been so much support. Yesterday, I actually like wrote a scholarship sharing my life story, and it's for a program that it's for moms, you know, like who are like the head of household that are like going to college, and I don't know, it's just like being able to share my story, it like helped me realize how much I've overcome, and just like being here in general just makes me feel like very proud and empowered and excited. Like I'm like the depression is not there anymore. That was there before I started school.
I call them trailblazers because they literally are sometimes going through weeds and, you know, trying to blaze trails that didn't exist before for them. And that is a different type of skill set to be able to do that in resiliency. And they are very strong and resilient, but we want to make sure that they don't feel like they're alone in that process.
I've met some people who are like very productive, and being around them has like made me like very productive to like keep going and tackling like new challenges that I face in college. That's sort of people who've been inspired me and supported me.
I work in Transiciones. They're actually really, it's a good place to go. It's really comfortable to go there all the time. It's a quiet room and it helps you find research about like, oh, if you want to join, if we can help you find classes. Oh yeah, and also the Avid as well, because they can help you find classes, what do you want to study for, all that, you know. There's many resources here. They're an amazing resource for anybody.
The number one piece of advice I would give to people is really just don't be scared to take that first step. I know some changes are scary, right? But when you take that first step, most often than not, you'll realize this isn't as bad as I thought. And that first step is the hardest part. From there, you'll really be able to keep going, to keep learning. And you'll look back at some point and be like, wow, like I never thought I could do that.
You know, don't be shy to reach out and ask for help. It's very important. There's so many people here who want to help you, but it kind of takes a little bit of your own reaching out and advocating for yourself. Whenever you have struggles, know that that's normal and everyone goes through them, but make sure to always reach out for help and ask for help.
As one of the students that was just outside our center said, hey, my kid right here is going to be second generation because I was first generation. And they are very proud. And I believe that that's what will go out into the community, to be the next generation will be impacted in the next generation. And that really will be a huge ripple effect in the community. And that goes from everything from their ability to not need state benefits, to be able to stand on your own 2 feet, to be able to earn a family wage, to be able to have a career, not just a job, and to be able to be a model for the next generation. And that is priceless.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Isn't that good?
Really good.
Yeah. Thank you. That's our students, are amazing. Okay, remember the little wonderful sheets that Roxanne does for us every meeting for the upcoming events? We'll see you all on Friday for our board.
The PAC kickoff is next Thursday.
It's
where?
Oh, it's in Gresham, and it's at the Center for the Arts Little Theater. It's on Main.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are they 30?
And it's 6:30.
Yeah.
5:30. You should have an email
Who is that email from?
from Claire Colmer.
Yeah.
Claire.
Yeah.
I caught the subject line, so that was good, but yeah.
Yeah.
I get so many.
The campaign manager.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Okay, oh, well, all righty. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. The move seconded to adjourn. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Meeting's adjourned.
Okay. All right.